Welcome back to the Behind the Belt podcast. My name's Logan Brown. As always, I'm here with Faraz Hashmi. Faraz, how's it going, bud?
It's all good, man. Just watching wrestling, seen us last week, having fun. What about you?
Yeah, man, it's been quite the roller coaster since we last spoke. A lot has happened. We had Survivor Series. We had a pretty eventful post Survivor Series Raw last night. Yeah, and then, like you said, we've got Cena's retirement match coming up this weekend, Saturday, or is it this weekend?
It is
Yeah, it
this
is this
week.
weekend. Holy
Yeah.
crap! It's literally everything's moving so quick in the wrestling world right now. But yeah, we said, Survivor Series. We've got the Saturday night's main event, which has a couple good matches on it as well. Yeah, Faraz, why don't you set it up for us and let's dive into Survivor Series first, because like always, got a lot of thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, Survivor Series 2025 was in San Diego. We opened the show up with the women's WarGames match with an absolute stacked babyface team, including Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Io Sky, and AJ Lee
Mm-hmm.
against the heels led by Becky Lynch, Lash Legend, who recently teamed up with Nia Jax, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. I mean, I'll go to you, Logan. It was a good match, fun match. The baby faces won, and I was not surprised. I mean, that should have been the result. What
Yeah.
how stacked the teams were, but a couple of really good spots in the match. I'll let you dig into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the match was good overall. I think it was a great match to start the show. Um, it did build some momentum. There was some cool spots. Of course, anytime that you put Io Sky in a cage where she's able to jump off something, you always get some cool spots there. And the way that Becky reacted in that spot, kind of being like, what the heck? Like, what are we talking about? Like, I'm not gonna stand there. And then she takes a massive bump by I think it was Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. I think they teamed together there, right? Yeah. Anyways, it was a good overall match. It was a great way to start the show. I didn't have any like I wouldn't say like any strong opinions on this match. I think we'll get into it a little bit more here. The kind of consistent theme, in my opinion, for the two War Games matches was there really wasn't like a serious build going into it, and there wasn't really a clear direction afterwards. I mean, you can maybe say the women's tag team titles would be kind of like the biggest kind of storyline there, but like you have Lash Legend with Nia Jax. That's something we hadn't seen previously for an extended period of time before War Games here. I think they maybe could have done a little bit more building on that front, but I'm interested, hearing all that, kind of your general thoughts on this match for us.
I mostly agree with you. I think Io Sky, I think she has to be the MVP of the match, and as she was last year in 2024 War Games, and she always has this crazy spot in any stipulation match, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
But I think it was a pretty straightforward match. I was surprised it was shorter than the men's one. I think last year they had it for a pretty long one, but I don't know why, but it was pretty short. Maybe like you said, there was not a lot of build up to this one. Maybe more to the men's one, but this one was pretty straightforward. One team was super stacked, and they had to get the win. But the match was fun. Had some good spots. Io was brilliant. I think Lash Legend was pretty good as well.
Absolutely. When she
Yeah,
came in, when she came in there, her general spot, just taking everybody out, that was, went took me from who is this person to okay, I see you, and the commentary. Sorry, the commentary did an incredible job introducing her to the audience that maybe didn't know her as much, and I think their education in that moment, while she did have that spot where she was kind of wrecking everybody, I think went a long way.
I think her last PLE appearance was a one-off in at the Royal Rumble,
Yeah.
sort of there. But this time, now she's properly part of the SmackDown roster, and she's called up and she's teamed up with Nia Jax. So a lot of people were looking forward to how she performs, and I think she did a pretty good job and showed a lot of people that she has a solid potential. I
Froz,
think that's
before we
yeah.
move on here, I just kind of my thoughts. Do you think this match would have felt different? And I say different not to lead the question to you, but do you feel like this match would have felt different if AEW's Blood and Guts wasn't like 3 weeks prior? Because you and I watched that, and
Yeah.
that that was a match. You
That
know,
was something else. Yeah.
do you think that maybe this match, and maybe even on the men's side as well, was a little lackluster in in the sense because we saw such a similar product in such a much more extreme way just a couple weeks prior?
So you're saying that, this? I think this match. I mean, it didn't have as much pressure, you would say, as it would have been if Blood and Guts would have been on the same day. Is that your question?
Like, meaning, say for example, if like I would argue that the women's Blood and Guts match that we
Yeah.
saw
Yeah.
was like one of the best
I agree. Yeah.
like women's matches I've
Yeah.
seen in a while, you know?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
with that being almost an identical product
Hmm.
visually,
Yeah.
right? From a
Yeah.
wrestling fan, you see the two rings, you see the structure around, and the creativity even with the structure itself in the women's match in the Blood and Guts side was so much better because, you know, the small little girls were able to fit through the hole, and like just like I remember being in watching the women's WarGames match and just being like, this is good, but I just saw something that was so similar, that was so much better only a couple weeks prior. So I say all that to ask the question, do you think the women's WarGames match kind of suffered because we saw that Blood and Guts match on the AEW side just a couple weeks or maybe 3 weeks prior?
Yeah. You can say that. I mean, you can say the women on the both sides of the company have a lot of talent, but one thing AEW does and WWE doesn't do is the amount of extreme level that AEW takes their matches to, with the glass
Yeah.
shatters and
The
like
mirror. Oh my
the
God.
thumb stacks and all
Yeah.
those things. Every women in that match was bleeding.
Yeah.
Um, I saw WWE trying to do something in this time around, but I saw Punk was bleeding in the men's match. I saw
Almost immediately.
Cody was bleeding for a while. I think Charlotte was bleeding as well, if I'm not wrong.
I think
Um,
you're correct. I
yeah,
think there was
I,
one other woman that was
yeah,
busted open.
someone was bleeding in the women's match too. So there
Yeah,
was some sort of impact from that blood and guts match, maybe.
yeah,
But yeah, they're nowhere near. I think the like you mentioned, like the women blood and guts that we saw a couple of weeks ago in Dynamite was probably one of the best matches I've also ever seen.
yeah,
Like the amount of talent in that ring and how they executed everything, it was just perfect.
yeah,
Even with being really bloody and extreme, I think it was a lot of fun. And maybe we had our expectations really high because of that, and
yeah.
maybe that's why, like you said, this one felt a bit underwhelming. But that's how WWE does. They're never gonna replicate what AEW does. So
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
And I think they do a good job of that of differentiating themselves and saying we are not the same, even though it looks similar. We are not the same. I think one thing that you and I have privately discussed, and I don't know how much we've talked about it on here, but you know, after watching more AEW product, I think we can definitively say WWE does the storytelling much better than AEW does. But you know, there's a lot of times where if you compare one match to another in WWE and AEW, if it's a very similar product, AEW's wrestling aspect and the in-ring performance normally comes out on top. I mean, I
yeah,
this didn't, you know, we're talking Survivor Series War Games here, where this didn't turn into a AEW versus WWE, but Yeah, maybe let's move on to kind of the next topic here, because there again, there's just so much that we have to cover in this Survivor Series War Games PLE.
And the next match was very interesting. We had John Cena in his last ever PLE, in his last ever appearance on ESPN, actually, take on the hometown boy Dominic Mysterio in an IC title match. And I think it was a fun match, Logan. I think it's pretty some interference from the Judgment Day,
Hmm.
um, but I feel like Cena gave it his best performance. I don't mind the result at all. I wouldn't have minded if Cena won. I don't mind if Dom won. I mean, we got a fun match, and Cena put him over in his hometown. The only thing I would have criticized, I think I felt missing was I would have loved a Rey Mysterio appearance in San
Yeah,
Diego,
for sure.
his hometown with I think a week or the Raw before they were Cena teamed up with him and Sheamus to take on the Judgment Day. So Rey Mysterio would have made a lot of sense, even if Cena lost the match. I think at San Diego, but still, I think nevertheless the match was fun, and he put Dom over in his hometown. I think that shows big of a how respectful guy, how big of a character Cena has. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, like, I mean, this match was the highlight of the night for me by far. You had Dominic coming out to a monster pop. I love the I love the how Eddie Dominic Mysterio is. Like, and the old school aspect of Dom. Like, I don't think in that match specifically really opened my eyes to this. I don't think there's a wrestler that wrestles as old school as Dom currently to date. And what I mean, and I feel like I say that because, but it is very much like an Eddie carbon copy, but I love it because he's doing the lying, he's doing the cheating, he's doing the stealing, he's got the mustache, he's got the hair. At the beginning of the match, he's throwing Cena off to the side, getting onto the turnbuckle, flexing to everybody. He does that once and then he does it again, just like to take in that moment. And I just, that's something that you saw a lot more in old school wrestling and you don't see as much as like kind of the taunting aspect. I love the fact that Dom did that. It adds to his character, added to the performance that was this match. And then obviously the in-ring performance was great too. I think both of them had great spots. Dominic's mocking John Cena, doing the "You Can't See Me," the whole nine. And then one of the more creative aspects that I thought was really interesting was the Dom faking the injury. And what's crazy about the faking the injury is Dom actually took like a pretty scary bump. Like he landed directly on his head. It was almost to a T what we saw with Penta just a week prior, right? Something that was real, that wasn't fake, and they did almost a carbon copy to that. Leaves the viewers going, "Oh no, like I can't believe it." And they milked it for so long. Like it really felt in the moment like, man, no way this happens twice in the exact same way. And again, they're showing the replay of like Dom falling on his head just repeat, like it was an awkward bump. And then obviously Roxanne Perez and
Well,
Raquel Rodriguez there. I was like, I have Rodriguez here and I was missing her first name. Come in and they start getting into their shenanigans. Cena takes a crazy pop rocks by Roxanne Perez. That was something I don't think I would have ever have seen, is him taking a bump like that. And then ultimately ends up in the return of the one and only Liv Morgan, which I think you called prior to going into this match. What did you think about Liv Morgan's return and kind of that? Do you think it was a good timing for her to come back, especially in this spot with how many eyes that were on John Cena and Dom in this match?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think it's the best time for her to return. I think she's been cleared to wrestle for like since last couple of weeks before prior to Survivor Series, and then I think they chose the right time. It could have been a Raw, it could have been a SmackDown, but could have been any other SNME Saturday Night's main event. But Survivor Series when Dom is fighting for the title against John Cena in his last ever PLE appearance. People are watching. The entire stadium is packed. I think it was a perfect time in what they did with Liv Morgan, the whole swerve thing where she slaps Dom,
Yeah,
then she jumps on Cena, and then entire that was actually a throwback to how Cena turned heel.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I thought. The zoom up,
zoom
the
up the face
facial.
change,
Yep, yep.
kick to the nuts, and then yeah, that was really good. One thing you talked about, you mentioned Dom and Eddie and how he has a lot of similarities. I think he's a really good combination of both Ray and Eddie.
Yeah,
I think he takes a lot from Eddie when it comes to his character. All the heelish moves, all the heelish things he does backstage, or even when he's wrestling. But and when even when with the moves, but even and he still has a lot of athleticism that Rey Mysterio has. I mean,
no doubt.
with his 619 and all the things Ray used to do.
Hmm.
So I think he's a really good product of both. I mean, a really good combination of both. Um, and I think one of the highlights of the match we forgot is Cena giving double AA to both Finn and
Oh
JD.
yeah,
Yeah, that's also a throwback. He gave one to Edge and Big Show, I think, back in the day or some, if I'm not wrong. So
insane.
that was special. Yeah,
Yeah, what an incredible opportunity for those two to be a part of that. And I remember watching that and being like, there is no way that you can take this bump where one person doesn't get it just terribly. Like, not only are you getting it on your back, you have another person's full weight laying on top of you, and that's exactly what happened. Just just
for sure.
yeah, tough bump, tough bump. But let's fast forward to the next match here for Oz, which
Women's World Championship.
yeah. I'm interested to see kind of your thoughts. We won't spend too much time on this just because it was great. It was a good match, but I definitely don't think was the highlight by any means.
Short match. I mean, Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella, they've had a good build up for a couple of weeks before this match. But one thing I would say is I was surprised. I think my expectation wasn't much from this match. It was a short match, but I think Bella wasn't that bad
Hmm.
as I thought she would be. I think the chemistry between the two wrestlers was good.
Yeah.
I think Stephanie, she's just really good,
Hmm.
and she makes everybody look good, and that's exactly what she did. I think her chemistry with Nikki Bella paid off, and I think it was a good match and not much to criticize. It was a short match. Result is not surprising, and yeah, I think Nikki Bella didn't do a bad job. She's not on Stephanie's level. I mean, there's a difference of age, there's a difference of ring time recently, but I would say she didn't do a bad job. It was a good match.
Totally agree, bros. I really don't have too much to add there. It was good, not great. I think obviously Stephanie was the one who shined in this match as she should have. I think she really is kind of that rising star that the WWE needs right now, and to being able to add to some of their biggest women's names, like what she's doing, the pops that she gets, the momentum she has, it's incredible, and I hope that this is prolonged, and we get to see her in some really cool matches, like her versus Tiffy, her versus Charlotte, like there's so many opportunities ahead of her, and with stuff like this, it's still a big win over a Nikki Bella, right? Like
Yeah,
this, so and to be able to have shared the ring with her, I'm sure she will say was a great opportunity, and yeah, I think I really don't have too much more else to say on that. Let's fast forward to the
made
next and
it.
last match on the card, which was the men's War Games match for us.
The main event, man. I mean, superstars all over, all-star studded teams.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Lesnar, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, and Drew McIntyre as they defeated CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, and Roman Reigns. some highlights of the match, in my opinion, I think the guy who shined, I would pick one from each team. I think I was surprised actually. I think Roman did a really good job. I think Roman for me was the MVP from the baby faces team, and I would pick um, Logan Paul for sure. Again, shined again in the from the heels, um, and I kind of like the result, Logan here.
Yeah,
I think the Vision had to win this match. Otherwise, there was no point of Braun Breaker turning on Seth Rollins and being the main guy. And from what we've seen on Raw, which we'll come to later, I think they needed this win. Um, the mystery guy in this match showing up. I'll let you talk about that first, and then I'll give my opinion. But yeah, my initial thoughts are um, good, fun match. Nothing too much. I think I've seen better War Games match than this one,
for
but
sure.
still, I would say the guys in the ring. If you have Brock Lesnar in the match, it's not gonna be super good because he doesn't do much, and he came at the end as well. So I liked the matchups. I liked everything. Nothing too critical about it, but yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe have a little bit of a different opinion than you on this one. For us, in my
Yeah.
opinion, I think this one was a little bit of a missed opportunity. As you
Mhm.
mentioned, this is a star-studded match. It had all the names. You know, it couldn't have gotten any bigger on paper, and I just, in my opinion, like the match kind of fell short. I don't know if it necessarily fell short because, again, the build up was kind of
Yeah.
nothing, like, Logan Paul joined the Vision, but it felt very kind of puzzle piecey where it was like right place, right time. It might have been their plan the whole time, but obviously things got messed up when Seth Rollins inevitably got injured, right? So it did feel like a pivot. Um, bringing in Drew McIntyre again, totally fine. I don't have anything wrong with that. But again, he's gonna go his separate ways after this, and it's not, they're not. There's not really gonna be much there. So it just didn't really feel like there was a lot there previously. There's definitely not a lot there afterwards. I think some of the biggest takeaways, other than the Masked Man, which I'll touch upon in a second, is you know Roman Reigns saying to Cody Rhodes, this will be
Mhm.
the last time that we ever team together. Um, CM Punk kind of just standing there and being like,
I have
okay,
a question for you on this.
yeah,
If I were to cut you off as well, um, the the Raw before Survivor Series, we saw a promo with Roman, Cody, and Punk, and Roman left that ring by saying the title would look good on my shoulder, and he kept staring on Punk the
yeah,
whole time when he said that. And then when at the end of Survivor Series, he said that to Cody. This is the last time we ever teamed up, maybe hinting at a third match between them at WrestleMania. The question is that just a swerve? Is it going to be CM Punk again? And maybe they just want to fool the audience by thinking it's going to be Cody Rhodes, and instead he's going to come for CM Punk.
yeah. I've been thinking about this one a lot. I had some strong opinions about that promo because there was a point where Roman Reigns was like, well, Cody, we don't even really know each other. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what do you mean you guys don't know each other? You guys fought each other for two WrestleManias, a
Really? Yeah.
full year. You feuded the whole entire time. Like, let's not, and you've always had some sort of connection afterwards, whether it was teaming together
Hmm.
two different times, right? I'm pretty once at WrestleMania, I'm pretty sure, right? And then once at War Games. There
Not WrestleMania. They teamed up at a was it WrestleMania? Kind of. It was it this year's WrestleMania. They teamed up.
I forget. I felt like they had, but anyways, it was
Well,
just like it was just such a weird comment to make
mhm.
because we don't even know each other that well, and it's like, well, no, yes, you do. Like you actually, and anybody that I would think that would know each other really well, it'd be you guys because this is semi recent, right? Cody got that belt, well, off of you. He got that belt off of Cena, but Before that, he got it off of you, and he was battling for it for 2 years. They'll finish the story again. Anyways, so in a long-winded way to answer your question, I think it is a little bit of a swerve. I
Mhm.
do see maybe a world where, like I was thinking about this. I could see a world where it's Roman has both belts.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be tough because then you're even bringing him to this new level, and it's like, how does he drop a one belt without dropping two belts or whatever it is? And obviously that doesn't make sense when you have a 2 day WrestleMania kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. There's smarter people than me to figure it out. But I think, in my opinion, the next CM Punk gets that title to drop it to Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
Like that's just where we're headed, and we kind of we saw that the start of that in the promo at the end of Raw here.
Mhm.
And maybe that's a perfect transition for us to go to Raw. We'll kind of wrap up Survivor Series
Mhm.
with the fact that, everybody knows, or if you don't know by now, in that Survivor Series match, there was a masked man that came in to assist the team of Lesnar, Breaker, Reed, Paul, and McIntyre to win that match. There has been a lot of speculation on who is this masked man. Faraz, do you have any early predictions for who this masked man was?
I mean, I predicted Austin Theory. I'll stick to that. But we had an appearance of the Masked Man again on Raw,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you want to jump into it right now,
Yeah,
but
let's just jump right into
yeah,
it.
let's jump into it right now. Then, I mean, I saw a couple of pictures in a split screen on Twitter that the guy on in Survivor Series and the guy at Raw last night were two not the same guys. I
Yeah.
mean, it did look different. The guy yesterday on Raw looked like he was much leaner,
Hmm.
and the guy at Survivor Series looked like he was more like muscular, much buffer. I don't know,
Yeah.
much buffed. I don't know. So the guy, I also stick to Austin Theory. I think the guy Survivor Series was Austin Theory. I'll stick to that. But the guy yesterday, there's a lot of speculations about Montez Ford as well
Absolutely. Yeah.
and
I
Ricky
mean,
Steamboat as well.
I thought of this. Why can't it be two people?
Yeah,
Why can't it be two separate people? Right?
I think
Like, we see one person show up at Survivor Series, we see one person show up at Raw. Maybe next week we see two people show up. Two different masked men, right? Like, I saw the same things that you saw, you know. When there's a masked man, I mean, we've saw it most recently. That can be Chad Gable, or that can be what's his name? Freaking um who is it now? I'm blanking.
we're talking about the man.
Grande Americano.
Oh,
Kaiser.
Ludwig Kaiser. Yeah,
I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be blanking on that. I apologies. Apologies to Ludwig Kaiser. But again, like, yeah, when there's a masked man involved, like, it doesn't have to be the same person. It could
yeah.
be a completely different body type, where one guy is short and stocky and the other guy's tall and lean, right? Like, um, they.
There's a lot of speculation about Ricky Saints as well because he lost his NXT title at Deadline to Obafemi.
Yep.
And the guy last night, when he was jumping the barricade and he just turned for a second, a lot of people said the head turn was pretty similar to Ricky Saints. So I don't know.
Interesting. Interesting. I mean, yeah, I think my prediction, I feel like it's a safe prediction, is, and that's not to poop on your prediction because I have the same
Yeah,
prediction, but I think it's Austin Theory. My very, very, very first thoughts, which immediately was met with, there's just no chance. There's no chance. Like, it's
yeah.
more silly than anything, was John Moxley, just because, with the super kick and, or the stomp, sorry, and everything like that. But it's obviously not him. But how funny or amazing would that be? But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I would have liked to have gotten a payoff by now, but at the same time, like, the WWE knows what they're doing.
My
They have a.
prediction,
Yep.
sorry,
No,
but
you're good.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
My prediction for this, I think they might reveal these two guys on that episode of Raw where Braun Breaker is fighting CM Punk. I think I see Breaker winning the title on that episode of Raw. It's a premiere episode of a new season or whatever, new year,
Yeah.
first Raw of 2026. It might just be the new beginnings. It might say 2026 new year, new champion, a new vision faction, whatever. But I think they might reveal the two guys on that episode of Raw.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where they go with that. If I'm right and it is two people, if it is any of the people that we mentioned, we will just have to wait and see. And something that we've also been waiting to see for a long time was who is going to be Cena's
Oh yeah.
final opponent. And for us, we now know Cena's final opponent this December 13th, 2025, on Saturday night's main event is going to be Gunther. How do you feel about this? Do you have any major takes? How are you feeling about this for us?
I have no complaints. I like Gunther. I've mentioned it to you a bunch of times when we talked privately. Um, as soon as they put Gunther in that tournament and they announced it in a promo, um, a lot of us knew he might. It's gonna be hard not to make him win.
Yeah,
And the only guy who could have beaten him was LA Knight. Yeah, my thing was if they, I didn't expect LA Knight to make to the finals.
yeah,
If he did, I would have liked LA Knight versus Cena more, if you ask me. But I think they have different plans with LA Knight on how the Raw ended last night.
oh,
Um, uh, I don't know. I will come to that later. But I think they just have different plans for him for now. But yeah, no complaints for Gunther. They had him retire Goldberg earlier this year, and then he disappeared, and then he came back and this, and I think the whole Gunther thing is his finisher now has become this submission move, the chokehold, and John Cena has never tapped out in his career. So, and that's what he mentioned in his promo as well. That you have to give up, you have to tap out and all.
yeah.
So that's a whole interesting perspective with Gunther being his final opponent. It's gonna be a really good match, I think. But yeah, I don't have any complaints. Gunther is one of the best in-ring talents WWE have right now. His promo game has gone up. I really like him. He when he walks around, he carries himself. He looks like a main eventer. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, and
So,
we talked over text about this, and
yeah,
I think I mentioned, but like Gunther not being in WWE, like it felt like Gunther wasn't
it did.
around.
Yeah.
Like there was this void that I couldn't really put my finger on. And it's not just Gunther, don't get me wrong. Like Gunther coming back definitely helps with this void, but it has felt like there's something that's being missing. And when talents like that come back, love or hate them, you do go, "Oh, yeah, like I forgot Gunther's been gone for so long. This person it it there's this big, love or hate how the matches go when people go to sleep or whatever it is. Like Gunther is that guy. WWE has continued to show that they do like to push him. He's a great talent. His matches are always great. And like you said, his promos are getting that much better. I'm going to read a direct quote, and you alluded to this, but he said, "I'm going to do something that nobody has ever managed to do before. I'm going to break your spirit. I'm going to squeeze every bit of hustle, loyalty, and respect has or until all of that has left your body." And these are great lines using the words
Mhm.
that have are tied to John Cena's career, words that he has continued to repeat, for over a decade now, and to use those and to weaponize that against him in the way that Gunther wrestles, like you can mentally picture that, right? So I think again that alludes to exactly what you said. His promo game has gotten that much better. Would I have liked to have seen a different opponent in this match? Of course. Would I've liked to see a Chris Jericho? Would I have liked to see an Edge? Of course I would. But those are things that might not be realistic at this moment. We've always known that Edge's contract doesn't end until like end of next year, beginning of next, or somewhere along that lines. The timelines just never added up. But here we were thinking, oh, speculation. To think that these two companies, being WWE and AEW, would have ever have worked together to share talent is absolutely absurd. They've never done that in the past, and they're not going to start doing that now, especially because they consistently take constant jabs at each other. Like again, we just did our previous show was talking about WrestlePalooza and the AEW show that we attended counter programming one another, right? Like this was a move on WWE's side to directly try and take a jab at AEW. So again, in to go back to my original point, would I have liked to have seen other names in this spot? Yes. Do I think Gunther is ultimately the most deserving at this moment in the company? I do. I absolutely do. I think the spot was perfect. I think the booking is incredible. And I think it's the most realistic booking that they could do. Now, do I hope maybe there's a swerve at the end, that maybe one of those names, one a lot more realistic than the other, maybe comes out Saturday night's main event? Of course, this is wrestling. Anything can happen, and I'm holding hope, but I'm still going to be just as satisfied knowing that within the WWE parameters, this is probably one of the best matches that could be made, that does build somebody. Like, I mean, I think I think this is kind of a straightforward prediction, but I think Gunther's going to beat John Cena. I think
Oh yeah.
John Cena's going to put over Gunther on the way out and skyrocket him to a level that maybe
Hmm.
because there's only one person that can say that they retired John Cena, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Do you have anything else to add on that for us? I kind of went on a
No, that was good.
all
That was
over tangent, but yeah,
some great points. I mean, I saw some people complaining about it online. I don't really get it. I think it's not just WWE's decision. I think John Cena also had a say in this. Maybe he wanted Gunther to be his last opponent. Maybe he saw something in him, and yeah, it's just like a passing of the torch moment. The guy had you gotta give respect to Gunther, man. I mean, when he was IC title, he made the title relevant,
yeah,
the most successful IC title reign of all time.
absolutely,
And even when he was a world champion, and even that reign was good. I think he was, yeah, twice. The first one was really good, and the second one when he beat Jey Uso at WrestleMania, that was good as well until um, SummerSlam. I think that ended. So I have no issues with Gunther. I agree with you. Gunther is going to beat John Cena. That's how retirement matches end. And knowing who John Cena is, he's obviously going to put him over. The only interesting part is how. Um,
yeah, yeah,
the thing is, I'm 50-50. I think it's going to be a submission end, but
yeah.
is John Cena going to tap out or is he going to pass out? That's the question.
I think I think John Cena will tap.
Finally.
I think he's not the type of wrestler who needs to have that and be like, well, I never tapped out. Like, no, like you're done. You are on the way out.
That's a
You
great way of putting Gunther over as well. Of
absolutely,
tapping out.
absolutely. And again, if that's the direction that we want to go, where they strictly stick to that finisher, I mean, what's scarier finisher than? And again, like you can picture Michael Cole saying it now, being like, "Oh, that's the move that tapped out John Cena, the only move that's ever made John Cena tap." Right? Like it's so the storyline's right there in front of us. One last thing, just because I'm such a mark for him, but I'm hoping something happens to Gunther and they're gonna be like, what, who do we who could we possibly get? And then they start listing off names and they say Joe Hendry and then he shows up and then and then it's Joe Hendry again. I'm just such a mark for Joe Hendry, but
I
I
mean, I was kind of bummed that he was not in the tournament. I really thought he should have been in the tournament at least.
yeah,
But yeah, maybe sometime in the future we might see him. He's part of the NXT roster now. He's been showing up, and
officially, yeah,
yeah.
which is massive. But I think, yeah, he is a part of the NXT roster, which makes me believe that that possibility is just not as much there as I would have liked to, or I would like it to be.
So moving on now, Logan.
Yeah,
Um, we talked about the mystery man, so I'm not gonna spend a lot of time here.
for
We
sure.
might actually skip this because Logan Paul, Rey Mysterio was scheduled for a match
Yep.
against Finn Balor, but Logan Paul came out and he attacked him. And then when Rey Mysterio attacked him back, we saw the mystery guy show up and then attack Rey Mysterio, helping Logan Paul. Then Logan Paul, using his brass knuckles, knocked him out and just left. And then LA Knight came out and then stopped him and challenged him for a match later at night.
Yep.
We'll come to that match later on because there's stuff to talk about there. But I'll move on to something that was big
Yeah.
on Raw during the New Day segment with AJ Styles and Dragon Lee,
Hmm.
the current World Tag Team Champions.
Who have been
The
excellent, by the way.
Yeah, who were excellent. The spot on last night, not last Raw, the last Raw was absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
It
that
was
that spot into the
crazy.
Styles Clash where he
Yeah,
went from the
it was
ropes and flew.
crazy.
Yeah, yep, yep, yep.
But the Usos are back in the tag team division, Logan.
They are
That is
officially.
interesting. That's interesting. I want to see where this goes because somewhere in my mind, I see I see them not winning the titles, and
Hmm.
I'll tell you why. I think they'll push them. They might fight for the titles, and they'll lose, and that might be the time where Jey Uso turns on Jimmy, and it might lead up to their match next year. I don't know what pay per view, but somewhere next year. This is what I see because something's going on with Jay.
Yeah, for sure. I
We
was gonna
saw
say,
last week's Raw after Survivor Series, he was
yeah.
crashing out after he lost.
And the one thing that really stood out to me when they made this announcement was
Yeah.
Jim listing all the things that Jay has done wrong or not been able to accomplish. Like if that's me and somebody's like, "Yeah, look at this good thing and we're doing it because Jay can't do shit." Like that's going to cause some issues. So it's like even though they're announcing that, we're back, it's like, well, how back are you? Like it already feels like there's cracks in the foundation before you guys even started.
You know what I think? I It might be way too early for this, but I think we might see a part two of Jay versus Jimmy at WrestleMania, and this time Jay is going to be the heel and Jimmy's going to be the face.
Yeah.
Because last time around it was the other way around. It was Jay was the baby face and Jimmy was a heel, and it just might be the time where you give one to Jimmy and they're just equal and 1-1. I don't know, maybe too early to say that, but I think this is going to lead up to there.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I kind of had similar thoughts. I think this is just going to lead into them feuding, and you can't do it the same way that they did it last time. So, and we've been seeing for weeks now, again, the long-term storytelling that we referred to, Jay is just not what Jay has been. um yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Coming to the main event,
Hmm.
Logan.
Yeah.
An interesting main event, an interesting end to the
Yeah.
yeah. LA Knight, who challenged Logan Paul early in the night. They had a good match. Again, the Vision interfered.
Hmm.
Braun and Bronson, I think Logan's and the Mystery Man interfered as well.
Yes.
Again, for the second time in the night, he
Huge
put
huge spot on the announcer's table where he jumps
yeah.
out of the crowd and
Mhm.
stomps LA Knight's head into the table. It was a great spot. I really like that one.
The interesting thing is with the Mystery Man, he keeps using Seth Rollins' finishing move.
Yeah.
Even if they're two different people, I don't really know if WWE are still trying to fool the fans. I don't really think anybody believes it's Seth Rollins,
Oh
but
no, it's definitely not
yeah,
Seth.
it's not. But they keep using his moveset, but I don't know why, but whatever. Well, I'll come to the ending of the match. LNI lost, and then he went to the back. Apparently, the referees helped him go to the back, and then we saw Braun Breaker cut an amazing promo for the second Raw in a row. He
And
cut one last week after
amazing.
Survivor Series, which was amazing. And Punk was, of course, absent again. His his dog Larry passed away recently.
Rest in peace.
So
It's
rest in peace.
tragic, man. That's
Tragic. Yeah.
especially you look at that family dynamic, like you
Yeah.
can tell that AJ Lee and CM Punk really saw that Larry as a childlike figure. It's tough. That's a losing loved one, pet or uh, otherwise, is just the toughest.
for sure. And so obviously CM Punk, for obvious reasons, was not present on Raw, and Braun Breaker cut an amazing promo
Saying he's gonna
again.
take his championship and take his wife. Oh man.
I think it might lead up to CM Punk maybe cutting an old school promo that he used to cut back in 2011, 2012, and he mentioned that he wants to see the old CM Punk.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see whenever CM Punk returns now, and his promo is gonna be interesting as well. But again, I was confused. I was like, "What's happening in this Raw?" And they were cutting a shot at LA Knight going to the back. I'm
Yeah,
like, they
like
don't.
all of a sudden he's
Yeah,
walking in the back, like
I was
on
like,
the
something's going to
jumbotron. They're
happen.
showing
Yeah.
him walking in the back. You're like, okay, what's going on here?
I'm like, something's happening. I was like, I was excited, and then they just send Logan and Bronson to the back. They keep attacking LA Knight, and eventually Bronson tsunamis him on the top of the car.
Yeah,
Um,
last time we saw somebody get thrown on the top of a car at the end of an episode, we never saw them in WWE again.
yeah, I
Uh,
mean,
little ricochet, a little ricochet
yeah.
Easter egg there.
This can lead up to two things, in my opinion. I'll let you speak after this. I mean, I think either they're completely burying LA Knight and Triple H doesn't like him. I don't know why, but I I I still believe they're gonna write him off, and I feel like he's gonna come back at the Rumble and win it. I think maybe they now finally want to give him like a good solid run, maybe end 2025 because it hasn't been a good year for him.
No.
They've given him a lot of L's. He's taken a lot of L's. He's moved to the mid card. He's fought a lot of mid carders, and then whenever he fights someone from the main event scene, and he takes L's. So I pray this is the reason. I hope they just want to end his end his 2025 for a fresh 2026 start. I think he disappears now until the Rumble,
Hmm.
shows up, wins it, and then eventually wins the title that he should have won maybe a while ago. That's what I hope and I believe.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. The thing that I've just been so stuck on is like it just really feels like they're writing him
Yeah.
off TV. Like, he's been pushing back publicly and also on the program. Again, this is wrestling. How much of that is coming from the back or how much is that
Mhm.
is authentic? We don't really know. Um, I think both these things can be true. I think the people that are running the show and the Triple H's probably don't like when people come out and criticize them on the program that they're producing or that they're running. But at the same time, if it builds traction, like, it's kind of that old school Vince McMahon thing where it's like, if it makes people care about you, like, who cares about my feelings, right? Like, so I really hope it's the latter there, where it's they're capitalizing on this frustration, not only from the talent but from the fans as well, because we as fans have been saying for a long time that it really feels like they're fumbling LA Knight, and he's coming out and he's saying that he's holding the sign that say we don't want Jay, we want LA Knight. And it really did feel like over the last little bit, like Jay got LA Knight's push, right? He got the title, he won the Royal Rumble. So again, yeah, it just really watching the end of this episode, all I could really think is like, man, we're not going to see LA Knight on TV for how many months now? And it could just be like, like a timing thing, right? Where just right now, over the last little bit, they just are trying to figure out where they can fit LA Knight in, and they just don't really have a spot for him. He deserves to be bigger than he is, and he's just not. And he had that momentum, and I don't think that momentum is there as much anymore. But I I never really put two and two together in terms of what you were saying there, for us, and I think that absolutely does make the most sense. Like, what helps kind of quiet the noise, and then when they get that return, it's like the biggest Like they're just strapping a freaking rocket pack to his back, and he's just gonna go. I hope that's the case. I'm a big LA Knight fan. LA Knight was one of those wrestlers that helped get me back into wrestling, and has helped me kind of, you know, we're doing this here today because of the fact that I caught a glimpse of what I went to a local show, and he got squashed in the first match against Drew McIntyre, and he was like, "Nah, nah, nah, bring somebody else out here. I'm gonna fight them too." And I forget who he fought, and then he lost again. And it just the whole shtick, everything. I love it. So I really do hope that you're correct, or something in that realm of what you're saying is correct, because I think LA Knight really deserves it. And I really hope I'm wrong, in the sense of I hope they're not writing him off TV, because I don't want another Karrion Cross situation, because
And I don't know if there might be a third option. There might be a change of character as well, because sometimes when they write people off TV like this,
yeah, yeah,
they come
yeah,
back with a different character, maybe a heel LA Knight. I don't
sure,
know,
sure,
but are they gonna really do that? Because he also, like Jey Uso, sells a lot of merch and people like the yeah chant.
yeah.
So just like the Yeet, there's yeah. So I don't know if the heel LA Knight, he might make it work, but if it's gonna get over with the fans, that's the problem.
I think
So,
heel LA Knight has to come from like a business perspective. Like the
yeah,
business is screwing me, the executives are screwing me. So it's still a heel, but like a relatable heel kind of thing.
mm, yeah.
But yeah, that was LA Knight taking a tsunami on the top of a car. On literally the roof of the car. Was the end of the Monday Night Raw. Um, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Um, I want to pivot to something here to kind of wrap up the last,
Mhm.
maybe 20 minutes or so of our show for Oz. But, you know, mentioning that Cena's final match is this Saturday, December 13th, 2025, Saturday night's main event. I want I want to get your general thoughts on this John Cena retirement tour, and I want you to finalize that with giving it a grade.
I would say, I mean, I would divide his whole run into two halves.
Yeah.
Um, I enjoyed the moment where he turned heel.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing. But the entire heel run, I think, wasn't great.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the moment it changed for me was when he fought Punk, at
Yeah.
Night of Champions.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it started to get better. The matches started to get better. um, Him and he started to turn babyface slowly, and eventually at SummerSlam he turned babyface, and he started having better matches too. The match with Punk was amazing at Night of Champions. The match with Cody at SummerSlam was amazing. Then the match with Logan Paul in between was amazing. Then I think his best match was with AJ Styles at Clash in Paris. Or no, was it Clash in Paris or was it? Yeah, it was. I think
I
Clash in
think
Paris.
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yes,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
absolutely right. It
yeah.
was incredible.
The only bad part about the second half was his match with Brock Lesnar, which
Uh,
was like a squash match.
the worst.
That was probably the worst part of his entire run. But I liked the second half of his run more than the first half. The best part of the first half was the heel turn,
Yep.
that whole moment. But then it was just kind of a waste. The Rock went away, and he was not part of the storyline.
Yep.
That the match with Cody at WrestleMania was underwhelming,
Very.
not good. We only got Travis Scott in that match. Was main event WrestleMania. I mean, I
Who's
think,
never going to be seen again.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, I would say the match with Randy was good, nostalgic.
Absolutely. I
Um,
was going to mention that
yeah,
match
Um, but I think there was some occasions WWE just wasted opportunity. They could have made him fight other people.
for
He
sure.
had a he had a singles match with R-Truth. I think that could have been some. They could have been someone like The Miz, who didn't get to fight him and who had a great history with John Cena. Um, he had a tag match at Money in the Bank. I think it was him and Logan Paul versus someone, Cody or someone else. I think Cody and Jey Uso. I think.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, I think that was also a waste. So yeah, I think the first half was I'm not a fan of. I already mentioned. I think the second half, starting from Night of Champions, was much better. And you asked for a grade, I would say B minus. If
Okay.
that's good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I think our grades will kind of end up in a similar boat. I think
Yeah.
I second a lot of the things that you said. I think you do have to look at it as two different parts. I This run is a little different for me because I was lucky enough to be at Money in the Bank in Toronto when he came out and announced that he was going on this tour, which was such a big night for me because, I got to see some of my favorites as a kid. I got to see CM Punk, I got to see Randy Orton, and then getting to see John Cena in person and have that announcement was personally like bucket list stuff for me. Um, I think you're totally right. Um, I think him having a set amount of dates was tough. I think they were very limited to what they could do with that, and as we were hearing, like that came from creative. That the limited dates came from creative. That wasn't from John Cena. John Cena came out in an interview and said he wanted to do like 200 and something dates, which maybe we didn't need that much, but it did feel kind of short-winded. Like it just feels like there's so much more that they could do here. I think again, I second a lot of the things that you said. I think the Elimination Chamber turn was incredible, but ultimately falls flat because we got zero payoff with that. We have no idea why that happened. We have no clue what went on with The Rock. It was just a bunch of convoluted weirdness that ultimately and literally ultimately went nowhere, to the point where they did like one of the weirdest turn back to faces that I've ever seen, where it was like, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Remember what I was doing before? We're not doing that anymore. We're going to go back to the stuff that you guys liked, and we're just going to do that from this point moving on. I think it was the right move, but in the moment felt so strange. Um, but again, like you said, had some good matches. The Cody match at WrestleMania was terrible. The match with Randy was great. The match with AJ Styles was great. The match with Dominic Mysterio was amazing. But overall, when I look at kind of how they went about it, being the fact that he turned heel, that didn't ultimately end up working out. We got no payoff with that whatsoever, or resolution to why that happened whatsoever. And then they turned him back to face in just like the weirdest way that I've ever seen happen in wrestling. And probably the only person that could ever pull that off would probably be John Cena. I'm probably gonna be at a B minus as well. I think I'm kind of in that same spot. I think there was lots of room for improvement. In hindsight's 2020, but yeah, overall I think we land in kind of the exact same spot. Um, maybe we'll maybe we won't touch upon Saturday night's main event as we did with Raw and Survivor Series. We did kind of go over the fact that John Cena is facing Gunther. Some other highlights for that is Cody Rhodes is facing Obafemi,
I'm looking forward to that one.
which is going to be, if it's one of those, if you don't know, you will know kind of matches. Bailey is facing Sol Ruka. Did I
So
say that?
So
Ruka.
she's
Um,
another great talent of the women's division in NXT.
I think this is a big opportunity for Bailey specifically to start building some of that momentum that she used to have,
Yeah.
because I feel like her momentum has come to a screeching halt.
Yep.
So yeah, good opportunity there. And then obviously one of going what will be the best wrestled
Yeah,
match in the entire card, which is AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus Javon Evans and Leon Slater.
boy.
I
Yes.
think that is, you know, if obviously watch John Cena versus Gunther, but this match right here is going to put what I said at the beginning of this episode of being the best wrestler in AEW. If you watch this match, you might question that statement a little bit more. Do you have any kind of major thoughts on Saturday night's main event there for us?
I mean, yeah, just looking forward to all those matches that have been announced. I don't know if they're gonna announce one more, but I think that's about it for now for these four matches. And Cena, I think, mentioned one of the Raws couple few weeks ago that his last not PLE, his last ever match is going to be a Saturday Night's main event, and it's going to be exhibition matches between the NXT stars versus the main roster guys, and I
Yeah.
think they booked it really well. I mean, Leon Slater and Siobhan Evans are one of the most talented guys. I mean, in NXT, and of course Leon Slater's from TNA, but still, they're pretty similar as well on the way they wrestle. And Oba Femi is just I've talked to some of my other friends, but Oba Femi is just one of my favorites upcoming guys. I think he's gonna dominate WWE when he gets to the main roster. He's so good. And same with Sol Ruka, I think the best women's wrestler in NXT right now. One thing I would say, um, I don't know how it's gonna end, how the show's gonna end. I'm sure Gunther's gonna win, and then Cena's gonna cut a promo. Um, and I hope the entire roster comes out and surrounds the ring, and
Mm,
he just for the last time he just names the guys who have been his best opponents or who he has shared the best moments in WWE with. I just really hope the childhood fan inside of me, because we haven't seen Randy Orton in the last few months. He's been off TV.
yeah.
I don't know what the WWE has for him in the coming future, but I just really hope he's there Saturday. And I hope when if they surround the ring and if there's like a long promo at the end of the match, I hope Randy is there and he gets acknowledged or he acknowledges Cena. So
Yeah, I think yeah they're gonna do something. It's going to be really special for them to do it on a Saturday night's main event instead of a PLE is super interesting, especially with the time constraints. It's going to have to be a very tight show, which I think is a good opportunity for NXT talent because like there's very strict guidelines that you have to follow with times and stuff.
yeah,
And when you're dealing with a show as important as John Cena's retirement, like you got to hit your marks, you got to hit your times. So yeah, gonna be a really great opportunity. I think it's going to over deliver because on paper, a lot of people might not know some of these names, but again, they are great talents and they're there for a reason. So I'm really excited for Saturday night's main event. Um, and yeah, for us, like it's so nuts. It's so nuts being that the next time that you and I speak, the next time that you and I do another one of these, we will talk about John Cena, but we will never really talk about John Cena again.
yeah,
Isn't that insane?
it just gave me goosebumps.
I know. It's
I think he's one of my favorites of all time. Grew up watch. I think the first ever wrestling match I saw was John Cena, and
really.
yeah, um, I think the generation me and you're from, we grew up watching him, Randy, CM Punk, all these guys, and he's just an all timer, man. You
Oh
know,
yeah, like some of my favorite feuds with John Cena was John Cena with Randy Orton, John Cena with CM Punk, John Cena with Batista.
yeah,
Like John Cena, even some Jeff Hardy stints, right? Like it's like, or and on like genuinely John Cena with the Big Show, like those were some absolutely incredible
yeah.
storylines that they
I would
went
throw
with.
some more names. I would say Edge. I would say
Yep,
JBL and
yep.
John
Oh
Cena got feuds. Rock, couple of times. Those CM Punk. I think you already mentioned.
yeah.
Um, yeah, one guy. A lot of people were saying Chris Jericho might show up at the end of Saturday Night's main event and fight John Cena, but they don't really have that much of history. They didn't really fight. Um, before as people think they've done. But that's why I think WWE is gonna bring Jericho back at the Rumble.
I hope
I
so.
strongly believe so. But that's why I think they held him back and not induct. They didn't induct him in the Cena's last tournament or whatever this was, because they don't.
Yeah.
He doesn't have much history with Cena.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. Well, for
Yep.
us, I think we covered everything that we wanted to talk about here today. Again, next episode, it will be a recap of Saturday night's main event, potentially with the Raw as well. So we'll have a lot to talk about. Hopefully, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to make this happen in time, but we might even get a special guest. Who knows? I'm really excited to start getting some guests on this because as much as I love hearing you talk for us, and of course I love hearing my own voice, obviously with the amount that I talk, but I'd love to get some fresh faces, some new opinions, and some new ideas in here as well. But yeah, for us, that's like I said, I think that's everything that we have here today. As always, that was for us. I'm Logan. This was Behind the Belt, episode 8. We'll see you guys next time.